Loch Ness Monster, legend of the deep. Beneath the murky, peat-stained waters of Loch Ness, in the heart of the Scottish Highlands, lies a mystery that has captivated the world for centuries. A creature said to be ancient, elusive, and unlike anything known to modern science. Known affectionately as Nessie to millions, the Loch Ness Monster is more than just a myth. It is a cultural icon, a symbol of human curiosity, and a testament to the enduring power of the unknown. For generations, people have traveled from every corner of the globe to catch a glimpse of this fabled beast, to gather evidence of its existence, or simply to stand on the shores of the loch and feel the weight of a legend that has resisted explanation for hundreds of years. The story of Nessie is not just about a monster. It is about the intersection of history, science, folklore, and human imagination. A story that has evolved over time, shaped by the people who have sought to prove, disprove, or simply celebrate its existence. To truly understand the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, we must delve into its origins, trace the evolution of sightings and theories, examine the scientific investigations that have sought to uncover the truth, and explore the profound impact this myth has had on culture, tourism, and the human psyche. From the earliest tales of water beasts in the Scottish Highlands to the modern-day use of advanced technology in the search for Nessie, the legend of the deep has remained a constant source of fascination, debate, and wonder. This is the story of the Loch Ness Monster, a legend that refuses to die, a mystery that continues to unfold, and a reminder that even in an age of scientific advancement, there are still secrets that the depths of the earth refuse to give up. Loch Ness itself is a place of haunting beauty and overwhelming scale, a body of water that seems almost designed to nurture a legend. Stretching approximately 37 kilometers, 23 miles, from southwest to northeast, the loch is part of the Great Glen, a vast geological fault line that cuts through the Scottish Highlands from Inverness in the north to Fort William in the south. It is the second largest loch in Scotland by surface area, covering 56 square kilometers, 22 square miles. But its true power lies in its depth, with an average depth of 132 meters, 433 feet, and a maximum depth of 226.96 meters, 744.6 feet. Some sources claim it reaches as deep as 230 meters, 755 feet. Loch Ness is the deepest loch in Scotland after Loch Morar, and contains more water than all the lakes in England and Wales combined. Its water is notoriously murky, thanks to the high peat content of the surrounding soil, which filters into the loch and reduces visibility to just a few meters, even on the clearest days. This murkiness is a key part of the Nessie legend. It provides the perfect hiding place for a large, elusive creature, allowing it to move undetected beneath the surface for centuries. The loch's cold, freshwater environment, with temperatures rarely rising above 10 degrees C, 50 degrees F. Even in summer, also fuels speculation, as it is home to a variety of aquatic life, from salmon and trout to eels and plankton, raising questions about whether a larger, unknown species could survive in its depths. The loch is surrounded by rugged, windswept hills and forests, dotted with small villages like Drumnadrachet, Fort Augustus, and Dors, each with its own connection to the Nessie legend. Urquhart Castle, a crumbling medieval fortress perched on the loch's western shore, has become an iconic backdrop for Nessie sightings. Its ancient stone walls standing as silent witnesses to centuries of mystery. The geography of Loch Ness is not just a setting for the legend. It is an integral part of it, shaping the way people imagine the monster and the challenges of proving its existence. The loch's vastness, depth, and murkiness have made it nearly impossible to fully explore, leaving room for speculation and wonder to thrive. The origins of the Loch Ness monster legend can be traced back thousands of years, long before the name Nessie was coined or modern sightings captured global attention. The earliest hints of water beasts in the Scottish Highlands date back to the Iron Age, when the Picts, an ancient Celtic people who inhabited what is now Scotland, carved mysterious symbols into stone. These carvings, known as Pictish stones, often feature strange, serpentine creatures with long necks and bodies, leading some historians to suggest that the Picts may have had stories of water monsters that inhabited the lochs and rivers of their land. One of the most famous Pictish stones, the Hilton of Cadball Stone, carved around the 8th century AD, depicts a creature with a long, sinuous body and a small head, which some believe could be an early representation of the Loch Ness monster. While these carvings are open to interpretation, they could also represent serpents, dragons, or other mythical beasts. They suggest that the idea of large, mysterious creatures living in Scottish waters is deeply rooted in ancient folklore. The first written account of a water monster in the vicinity of Loch Ness comes from the 6th century AD, in the life of Saint Columba, a revered Irish monk who played a key role in spreading Christianity throughout Scotland. The story was recorded over a century later, around 690 AD, by a Dimnon of Iona, a relative of Columba and the abbot of Iona Abbey, in his book Vita Columbi, Life of Columba. According to a Dimnon's account, Columba was staying in the land of the Picts near the river Ness when he encountered local residents burying a man who had been killed by a water beast while swimming in the river. Locals explained that the beast had attacked the man, mauling him and dragging him underwater despite their attempts to rescue him by boat. Columba, ever the man of faith, sent one of his followers, Luin Macumin, to swim across the river to retrieve a small fishing boat. As Luin swam, the beast emerged from the depths, roaring and rushing toward him with its mouth open. All who witnessed the scene were terrified, but Columba made the sign of the cross and shouted, "Go no further. Do not touch the man. Go back at once." Miraculously, the beast stopped in its tracks, as if pulled back with ropes, and fled back into the depths of the river. Columba's followers and the Picts praised God for the miracle, and the story spread throughout the region. For believers in the Loch Ness monster, this account is seen as the first documented sighting of Nessie, or a creature like it, dating back over 1,400 years. Skeptics, however, argue that the story is a typical example of medieval hagiography, accounts of saints' lives that often include miraculous events and mythical elements to emphasize the saint's holiness. They note that water beast stories were common in medieval Europe, and a Damnon's tale may have been a way to glorify Columba rather than document a real creature. Regardless of its veracity, the story of Saint Columba and the water beast laid the foundation for the Loch Ness monster legend, planting the idea that the waters of the Ness region were home to a mysterious and powerful creature. In the centuries following Saint Columba's alleged encounter, there were occasional reports of strange sightings in Loch Ness and the surrounding rivers, but these accounts remained localized and largely forgotten by the wider world. The legend lay dormant for centuries, overshadowed by other myths and legends of the Scottish Highlands, such as kelpies, shape-shifting water spirits that were said to lure humans into the water and drown them. Kelpies were a common feature in Scottish folklore, often described as horse-like creatures that could transform into humans, and their stories may have overlapped with early accounts of water monsters in Loch Ness. For example, in 1823, a report in the Inverness Courier described a kelpie of Loch Ness that had been sighted by a group of fishermen, further blurring the lines between mythical spirits and physical creatures. Throughout the 19th century, there were a handful of isolated sightings of strange objects or creatures in Loch Ness, but these were often dismissed as misidentifications of logs, waves, or known aquatic animals. In October 1871, a Mr. D. Mackenzie reported seeing a monster in the loch that he described as log-like, then upturned boat, moving slowly before speeding off. In 1885, during the summer, multiple witnesses reported seeing a large beast in the loch, with one observer, Roderick Matheson, describing it as the biggest thing I ever saw in my life, neck like a horse with a mane. In 1888, Alexander MacDonald claimed to have seen a salamander-like creature in the loch, while in 1895, a group of salmon anglers, foresters, and hotel keepers reported seeing a horrible great beastie emerge from the water. These 19th century sightings were sporadic and lacked the detail or widespread attention that would later characterize 20th century reports, but they kept the legend alive, passing from generation to generation in local communities. It was not until the 20th century that the Loch Ness monster legend would explode into global consciousness, transforming from a local folktale into one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in the world. The modern era of the Loch Ness monster legend began in 1933, a year that would see a flurry of sightings and reports that captured the attention of the British press and the general public. The catalyst for this renewed interest was the opening of the new A82 road along the western shore of Loch Ness, which made the loch more accessible to tourists and locals alike. For the first time, large numbers of people had easy access to the loch's shores, increasing the likelihood of sightings, or at least reports of sightings. The first major sighting of 1933 came in April, when Aldi Mackay, the manageress of the Drumnadrachet Hotel on the loch's shore, reported seeing a whale-like fish or beast in the loch. Her account, published in the Inverness Courier on May 2, 1933, described the creature as disporting itself, rolling and plunging for fully a minute, its body resembling that of a whale, and the water cascading and churning like a simmering cauldron. This report sparked a wave of interest, with more sightings following in the months ahead. In August 1933, George Spicer and his wife were driving along the A82 road near Loch Ness when they claimed to see a large, unusual animal cross the road in front of their car. Spicer described the creature as having a long, graceful neck, a small head, a large body, and 4 short legs, with a skin texture like elephant hide. He estimated the creature to be around 15 meters, 50 feet long, and he reported that it moved slowly across the road before slipping into the loch. Spicer's account was detailed and credible, coming from a respected local businessman, and it quickly made headlines across Britain. The Inverness Courier coined the term Loch Ness Monster in an August 1933 article, and the name stuck, becoming the official moniker for the fabled creature. Later that year, in November, Hugh Gray, a worker at the British Aluminum Company, claimed to have taken the first photograph of the Loch Ness Monster while walking back from church along the loch shore. Gray said he saw an object of considerable dimensions making a big splash with spray on the surface of the loch, and quickly took several photographs. Only one of the photos showed anything recognizable, a blurry, dark shape in the water that some claimed was the monster's head and neck. Believers hailed the photograph as the first tangible evidence of Nessie's existence, while skeptics dismissed it as a blurry mess that could have been anything from a dog swimming with a stick to a wave or a log. Despite the skepticism, the Gray photograph marked the beginning of a new era in the Nessie legend, one where visual evidence would become a key part of the debate. The year 1934 would prove to be a pivotal one for the Loch Ness Monster legend, thanks to the release of what would become the most famous and controversial piece of evidence in the history of the mystery: the surgeon's photograph. Taken by Colonel Robert Wilson, a respected British surgeon, the photograph appeared to show a long-necked creature rising from the waters of Loch Ness, its head and neck distinct against the murky background. Wilson claimed he had taken the photograph while driving along the northern shore of the loch, and he refused to have his name associated with it, leading to it being known simply as the surgeon's photograph. For decades, this photograph was considered the best evidence of the loch Ness monster's existence, reproduced in newspapers, books, and documentaries around the world. It cemented the popular image of Nessie as a plesiosaur-like creature, long-necked, with a small head and a bulky body, a Chinese letter that would persist in the public imagination for decades. However, the surgeon's photograph was later revealed to be a hoax, one of the most elaborate and successful hoaxes in modern history. In 1994, Christian Sperling, a 90-year-old man, confessed that he had helped create the photograph with his stepfather, Marmaduke Wetherell, a big game hunter who had been hired by the Daily Mail to find evidence of the Loch Ness monster. Wetherell had previously failed to find any evidence of Nessie and had been mocked by the press, so he decided to create a hoax to restore his reputation. Sperling, a skilled model maker, crafted a small model of a monster's head and neck using plastic wood, a coat hanger, and a toy submarine. The model was then placed in the loch, and Wilson, who was in on the hoax, took the photograph. The hoax was so successful because the photograph was blurry enough to be convincing, but clear enough to show a distinct shape, and Wilson's reputation as a respected surgeon lent credibility to the image. The revelation of the hoax in 1994 dealt a major blow to believers, but it did not put an end to the Nessie legend. If anything, it added another layer of intrigue, highlighting the lengths people would go to either prove or disprove the monster's existence. Despite the hoax, the surgeon's photograph remains one of the most iconic images associated with the Loch Ness monster, a symbol of the legend's enduring power. The 1930s saw a surge in public interest in the Loch Ness monster, with countless sightings reported and numerous expeditions launched to find evidence of the creature. In 1934, the Daily Mail sponsored an expedition led by Marmaduke Wetherell, the same man who would later orchestrate the surgeon's photograph hoax. Wetherell's expedition used sonar equipment to scan the loch's depths, but they found no evidence of a large creature. However, they did report finding unusual sonar readings that they attributed to Nessie, sparking further speculation. Later that year, another expedition, led by Captain Rupert Good, a retired Royal Navy officer and amateur scientist, set out to investigate the sightings. Good spent several months at Loch Ness, interviewing witnesses, collecting evidence, and analyzing photographs and sonar readings. His book, The Loch Ness Monster, published in 1934, became a bestseller and helped to solidify the legend in the public mind. Good was a skeptical believer, acknowledging that many sightings were likely misidentifications, but arguing that there was enough credible evidence to suggest that some kind of unknown creature might inhabit the loch. He classified sightings into different categories, distinguishing between those that were likely hoaxes or misidentifications, and those that he considered credible. Good's work laid the groundwork for future investigations, establishing a framework for analyzing Nessie sightings that is still used by researchers today. The 1930s also saw the first attempts to use technology to search for Nessie, with sonar and photography becoming key tools in the hunt. While these early technologies were primitive by modern standards, they marked a shift from relying solely on eyewitness accounts to using scientific methods to uncover the truth. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, public interest in Nessie continued to grow, with tourists flocking to Loch Ness in the hope of catching a glimpse of the monster. Local businesses quickly capitalized on the legend, selling Nessie-themed souvenirs, offering boat tour of the loch, and opening museums dedicated to the mystery. The legend of the Loch Ness monster had become a major economic driver for the region, a trend that continues to this day. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 temporarily put a halt to major expeditions and public interest in the Loch Ness monster, as resources and attention were diverted to the war effort. However, sightings continued throughout the war years, albeit less frequently. In 1941, Italy's Popolo d'Italia newspaper reported that the Loch Ness monster had been killed by a direct bomb hit during a German air raid. But this report was quickly proven to be a hoax when sightings continued unabated. In August 1941, J. Macfarlane Barrow and his 3 children reported seeing Nessie while boating on the loch, and the Daily Mail was quick to note that the monster had survived the supposed Nazi attack. After the war, public interest in Nessie was rekindled, and new expeditions were launched with more advanced technology. In the 1950s, the use of sonar became more sophisticated, allowing researchers to scan the loch's depths more thoroughly. In 1951, Lachlan Stewart, an employee of the Forestry Commission, took a photograph of mysterious humps rising from the loch. The photograph showed 3 dark humps in the water, and it was widely publicized as new evidence of Nessie. However, over 20 years later, researchers visited the spot where Stewart had taken the photograph and realized that the humps were in extremely shallow water close to the shore, meaning the creature would have had to be unusually flat. Author Richard Freer later revealed that Stewart had confessed to him that the humps were nothing more than bales of hay covered with tarpaulins. Another hoax perpetrated to capitalize on the Nessie legend. In 1955, Peter McNabb, a bank manager, took another photograph of a supposed Nessie sighting, showing a dark shape in the water with a long neck. This photograph was also met with skepticism, with many arguing that it was a log or a wave. Despite the number of hoaxes, there were also credible sightings during this period. In 1954, a group of fishermen reported seeing a large creature with a long neck and a small head surface near their boat, describing it as like a giant eel, but with a thicker body. In 1957, a local farmer reported seeing a creature emerge from the loch and walk on the shore, leaving large footprints in the mud. The footprints were examined by experts, but they were later determined to be fake, made by a plaster cast of a hippopotamus foot, another hoax. The 1950s were a time of both excitement and disappointment for Nessie researchers. hoaxes and misidentifications, overshadowing genuine sightings and fueling skepticism. The 1960s marked a turning point in the search for the Loch Ness Monster, with the launch of the first large-scale scientific expeditions and the use of more advanced technology. In 1960, Tim Dinsdale, a British aeronautical engineer and passionate Nessie enthusiast, took what would become one of the most famous pieces of film footage of the monster. On April 23, 1960, Dinsdale was filming the loch from the shore when he saw a dark shape moving across the water. He quickly started filming, capturing approximately 40 seconds of footage showing a large, dark object moving at high speed, leaving a wake behind it. Dinsdale's film was analyzed by experts, including the Royal Air Force, who concluded that the object was likely a living creature, not a log, wave, or boat. The film was shown on the BBC's Panorama program in June 1960, sparking widespread interest and renewed hope that Nessie would soon be proven real. Dinsdale went on to write several books about the Loch Ness Monster, including Loch Ness Monster, 1961, in which he proposed that Nessie was a surviving plesiosaur, a prehistoric marine reptile thought to have gone extinct 66 million years ago. The plesiosaur theory had first been proposed in 1933, shortly after the first modern sightings, and it quickly gained popularity among believers. Plesiosaurs were long-necked, four-flippered reptiles that lived in the oceans during the Mesozoic era, and their appearance matched the popular description of Nessie. Dinsdale argued that Loch Ness, with its depth and cold water, could have provided a refuge for plesiosaurs, allowing them to survive extinction. While the plesiosaur theory was popular, it faced significant scientific criticism. Skeptics pointed out that plesiosaurs were marine reptiles that lived in salt water, not freshwater, and that Loch Ness was formed by glacial activity only 10,000 years ago, far too young to have been a refuge for prehistoric creatures that went extinct millions of years earlier. They also noted that plesiosaurs were air-breathing creatures, meaning they would have to surface frequently, making it more likely that they would be seen more often. Despite these criticisms, the plesiosaur theory remained popular with the public, cementing the image of Nessie as a prehistoric survivor. In 1962, the Loch Ness Phenomena Investigation Bureau, LNPIB, was established, becoming the first formal organization dedicated to investigating the Loch Ness Monster. The LNPIB was founded by a group of enthusiasts and researchers, including Tim Dinsdale, and it aimed to coordinate research efforts, collect and analyze sightings, and conduct scientific expeditions to the loch. Over the next 10 years, the LNPIB organized numerous expeditions, using sonar, photography, and even underwater cameras to search for evidence of Nessie. In 1967, the LNPIB launched a major expedition using sonar equipment borrowed from the Royal Navy. The expedition scanned the loch's depths and recorded several unusual sonar readings, including one that appeared to show a large object moving at a speed of 10 knots, 18.5 km/h, at a depth of 20 meters, 66 feet. The LNPIB claimed that this reading was evidence of a large, living creature, but skeptics argued that it could have been a school of fish, a submerged log, or even a malfunction of the sonar equipment. The LNPIB also collected hundreds of eyewitness accounts during this period, cataloging sightings and classifying them based on credibility. While the organization did not find conclusive evidence of Nessie's existence, it played a key role in keeping the legend alive and fostering scientific interest in the mystery. In 1972, the LNPIB opened an investigation headquarters at Achnahanet, near Loch Ness, which attracted over 50,000 visitors in its first year, further boosting tourism in the region. The LNPIB disbanded in 1972, but its work laid the groundwork for future research, and many of its members went on to participate in other Nessie expeditions. The 1970s saw a shift in the search for the Loch Ness Monster, with more emphasis on scientific rigor and the use of advanced technology. In 1975, a team of researchers from the Academy of Applied Science, AAS, based in Boston, USA, launched a major expedition to Loch Ness, funded by the National Geographic Society. The expedition, led by Robert Rines, a lawyer and amateur scientist, used state-of-the-art sonar equipment and underwater cameras to search the loch's depths. The AAS team spent several months at Loch Ness, scanning the loch and taking thousands of photographs. In 1975, they captured what they claimed were 2 photographs of the Loch Ness Monster, one showing a large, flipper-like appendage, and another showing a dark, elongated body with a long neck. The photographs were analyzed by experts who concluded that they were not hoaxes and that they showed an unknown creature. The flipper photograph, in particular, was widely publicized, with many believers citing it as definitive evidence of Nessie's existence. However, skeptics argued that the photographs were blurry and could have been misidentifications of known objects, such as logs, rocks, or even the remains of a sunken boat. The AAS team returned to Loch Ness in 1977, using more advanced underwater cameras and sonar equipment. They recorded more unusual sonar readings and captured additional photographs. But again, the evidence was inconclusive. Robert Rines remained a lifelong believer in the Loch Ness Monster, and he continued to lead expeditions to the loch until his death in 2009. His work helped to bring scientific credibility to the search for Nessie, even if it did not produce conclusive evidence. The 1970s also saw the emergence of new theories about the Loch Ness Monster, as scientists began to move away from the plesiosaur theory and consider more plausible explanations. One of the most popular new theories was that Nessie was a giant eel, a theory that would gain more traction in the decades to come. Other theories suggested that Nessie could be a large catfish, a Greenland shark, or even a group of otters swimming together. creating the illusion of a large creature. The 1980s and 1990s brought more advanced technology and more ambitious expeditions, but they also brought more skepticism. In 1987, a team of researchers from the University of Cambridge and the University of Oxford launched Operation Deepscan, the largest and most comprehensive search for the Loch Ness monster ever conducted. The expedition used 24 boats, equipped with state-of-the-art sonar equipment, to scan the entire loch, covering every inch of its depths. The team spent 3 weeks scanning the loch, and they recorded several unusual sonar readings, including one that appeared to show a large object moving at a depth of 60 meters, 197 feet. However, the team concluded that the readings were likely due to schools of fish, submerged logs, or other natural phenomena, and they found no evidence of a large, unknown creature. Operation Deepscan was a major disappointment for believers, as it suggested that if Nessie existed, it was either extremely rare, very small, or very good at hiding. In 1993, another major expedition, led by Adrian Shine, a biologist and longtime Nessie researcher, used underwater cameras and sonar to search the loch. Shine's team focused on the loch's deep trenches, where a large creature might hide, but they found no evidence of Nessie. Shine, who had been researching the Loch Ness monster since the 1970s, became increasingly skeptical over time, arguing that the most plausible explanation for sightings was misidentification of natural objects and phenomena. The 1990s also saw the revelation of the surgeon's photograph hoax, which further eroded public trust in visual evidence of Nessie. Despite these setbacks, sightings continued throughout the 1980s and 1990s, with hundreds of reports of strange objects in the loch. In 1983, a group of tourists reported seeing a large creature with a long neck surface near Urquhart Castle. And in 1991, a local fisherman claimed to have seen Nessie swimming near his boat, describing it as a huge, dark shape with a small head and a long tail. These sightings, while credible to the witnesses, did not provide any concrete evidence, and they were dismissed by skeptics as misidentifications. The 21st century has brought new technology and new approaches to the search for the Loch Ness monster, with researchers using DNA analysis, advanced sonar, and drones to try to uncover the truth. In 2000, a team led by Jan Sundberg launched the GUST 2000 Loch Ness expedition, using hydrophones, underwater microphones, to listen for sounds made by unknown creatures in the loch. The team received unexpected support from the Royal Air Force, which issued an avoid order to low-flying jets to prevent noise from interfering with the hydrophones. The team recorded a variety of sounds, including those made by pike, eels, and other known aquatic animals, but they also recorded several unidentified noises that they could not explain. While the expedition did not find conclusive evidence of Nessie, it demonstrated the potential of using hydrophones to search for the creature. In 2003, the BBC launched a major investigation into the Loch Ness monster, using advanced sonar and satellite technology to scan the entire loch. The investigation, which was broadcast as a documentary, concluded that there was no evidence of a large, unknown creature in the loch, and that most sightings could be explained by natural phenomena, such as waves, logs, and swimming deer. BBC's investigation was widely publicized and led to a decline in public belief in Nessie, but it did not put an end to the legend. In 2019, a team of researchers from the University of Otago in New Zealand launched a groundbreaking expedition using environmental DNA, eDNA, analysis to search for Nessie. The team collected water samples from various locations in the loch and analyzed the DNA present in the samples to identify all living species in the loch. The goal of the research was not to find Nessie, but to improve knowledge of the loch's ecosystem. But it quickly became associated with the Nessie mystery. The researchers ruled out the presence of large animals that had been proposed as possible candidates for Nessie, including plesiosaurs, sturgeon, catfish, and Greenland sharks. They found no evidence of any prehistoric marine reptiles or large fish that could explain the sightings. However, the team did find a significant amount of eel DNA in the loch, with eel DNA present at nearly every location sampled. Professor Neil Gemmell, the leader of the team, stated that while the data did not reveal the size of the eels, the sheer quantity of eel DNA suggested that there could be giant eels in the loch. We can't discount the possibility that what people see and believe is the Loch Ness monster might be a giant eel, Gemmell said. The eDNA study was a major breakthrough in the search for Nessie, offering a plausible scientific explanation for many sightings. Giant eels, which can grow up to 3 meters, 10 feet long or more, could easily be mistaken for a monster when seen in the murky waters of Loch Ness, especially if they surface partially or swim in groups. In recent years, there have been numerous new sightings and reports of the Loch Ness monster, with advances in technology making it easier for witnesses to capture photographs and video footage. In 2020, Ronald Mackenzie, the director of Cruise Loch Ness, captured 2 sonar images of mysterious shapes in the loch, off the coast of Invermoriston, at a depth of several hundred feet. The objects in the images were estimated to be twice the size of a typical boat, fueling speculation that they could be Nessie. In 2026, retired skipper Rod Mitchie captured a sonar image of a mysterious shape 182 meters, 600 feet, below the surface of the loch, further reigniting interest in the legend. While these sonar images are intriguing, they are not conclusive evidence, as they could be due to natural phenomena or known aquatic animals. There have also been several recent eyewitness sightings, including one in 2024 by a group of tourists who reported seeing a large, dark shape with a long neck surface near Urquhart Castle. The tourists captured video footage of the sighting, which was was widely shared on social media, but experts noted that the footage was blurry and could have been a log or a wave. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence, public interest in the Loch Ness Monster remains strong, with millions of people around the world still fascinated by the mystery. The legend has also been boosted by social media and the internet, with Nessie-themed content going viral and new theories emerging online. Today, the search for the Loch Ness Monster continues, with researchers using increasingly advanced technology to try to uncover the truth. While many scientists remain skeptical, there are still those who believe that there is something unknown in the depths of Loch Ness, waiting to be discovered. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed to explain the Loch Ness Monster sightings, ranging from the plausible to the paranormal. The most popular and enduring theory is the plesiosaur theory, which suggests that Nessie is a surviving plesiosaur, a prehistoric marine reptile. While this theory is beloved by the public, it is widely discredited by scientists. Plesiosaurs were saltwater creatures that lived during the Mesozoic era, and they went extinct 66 million years ago, long before Loch Ness was formed by glacial activity 10,000 years ago. Additionally, plesiosaurs were air-breathing, meaning they would have to surface frequently, making it more likely that they would be seen more often, and that their remains would have been found by now. Another popular theory is the giant eel theory, which gained significant traction following the 2019 eDNA study. European eels are abundant in Loch Ness, and they migrate over 5,000 kilometers, 3,100 miles, from the Sargasso Sea to Scottish rivers and lochs as juveniles, known as elvers. While most eels grow to around 1 meter, 3 feet long, there have been reports of giant eels growing up to 3 meters, 10 feet, or more. These giant eels could easily be mistaken for a monster when seen in the murky waters of Loch Ness, especially if they surface partially or swim in groups. The eel theory is supported by the eDNA study, which found a large amount of eel DNA in the loch, and it is considered one of the most plausible explanations for sightings. Another theory suggests that Nessie is a large catfish, such as the Wells catfish, which is native to Europe and can grow up to 5 meters, 16 feet long. However, Wells catfish are not native to Scotland, and there is no evidence that they have been introduced to Loch Ness. The 2019 eDNA study also found no evidence of catfish DNA in the loch, ruling out this theory. A similar theory suggests that Nessie could be a Greenland shark, a large, slow-moving shark that can grow up to 7 meters, 23 feet long. Greenland sharks are known to live in cold waters, and there have been occasional sightings of them in Scottish waters. However, the 2019 eDNA study found no evidence of shark DNA in Loch Ness, making this theory unlikely. Other theories propose that Nessie sightings are due to misidentification of natural objects and phenomena. One common explanation is that sightings are of logs floating in the loch. Loch Ness is home to a large number of logs, which can be carried into the loch by rivers or washed up on the shore. When these logs float in the water, especially in windy conditions, they can appear to move on their own, creating the illusion of a living creature. The murky water of the loch also makes it difficult to distinguish between logs and other objects, leading to misidentifications. Another explanation is that sightings are of waves or ripples caused by wind, boats, or underwater currents. In windy conditions, waves can form unusual shapes, and when viewed from a distance, they can appear to be a large creature. Boats can also create wakes that are mistaken for Nessie, especially if the boat is not visible. Swimming deer are another common misidentification, as deer are known to swim across the loch, and their bodies and antlers can appear as a large, dark shape in the water. Otters are also often mistaken for Nessie, especially when they swim in groups, creating the illusion of a large creature. Other natural phenomena that can be mistaken for Nessie include floating vegetation, submerged rocks, and even reflections of clouds or trees in the water. While these misidentifications can explain many sightings, there are still some sightings that cannot be easily explained, leading some to believe that there is something unknown in the loch. Paranormal theories about the Loch Ness monster have also been proposed, though they are not supported by any scientific evidence. Some people believe that Nessie is a shape-shifting water spirit, similar to the Kelpies of Scottish folklore. Others suggest that Nessie is a supernatural creature, a ghost, or even an alien. There are also theories that Nessie is a product of time travel, a prehistoric creature that has somehow traveled forward in time to the present day. These paranormal theories are popular in some circles, but they are dismissed by scientists and most researchers, who argue that there is no evidence to support them. The Loch Ness monster has also been linked to other cryptids, such as the Loch Morar monster, known as Morag, and the Loch Lomond monster, leading some to suggest that there is a population of unknown creatures living in Scottish lochs. However, there is no evidence to support this claim, and most sightings in other lochs are likely due to the same misidentifications that explain Nessie sightings. Despite the lack of evidence for paranormal theories, they continue to capture the imagination of some people, adding to the mystery and allure of the Loch Ness monster. The Loch Ness monster has had a profound impact on the culture, economy, and tourism of the Scottish Highlands. For decades, the legend has been a major tourist attraction, drawing millions of visitors to Loch Ness each year. Tourists come from all over the world to take boat tour of the loch, visit Nessie-themed museums and attractions, and stand on the shores in the hope of catching a glimpse of the monster. The village of Drumnadrochit, located on the northern shore of the loch, has become the epicenter of the Nessie legend, with numerous shops, restaurants, and hotels dedicated to the monster. The Loch Ness Centre and Exhibition, located in Drumnadrochit, is one of the most popular attractions, featuring exhibits on the history of the legend, sightings, and scientific investigations. The center also offers boat tour of the loch, giving visitors the chance to search for Nessie themselves. The legend has also spawned a thriving souvenir industry, with Nessie-themed toys, clothing, mugs, and other merchandise sold throughout the region. The economic impact of the Nessie legend is significant, supporting thousands of jobs in tourism, hospitality, and retail. According to some estimates, the legend generates over £100 million, $125 million per year for the local economy. The Loch Ness Monster has also become a cultural icon, appearing in countless books, movies, television shows, and works of art. In literature, the monster has been featured in novels such as Steve Alten's The Loch, 2005, which portrays Nessie as a giant, carnivorous eel, and J.K. Rowling's Fantastic Beasts, and Where to Find Them, 2001, which suggests that the Loch Ness Monster is a misunderstanding of the world's largest kelpie. The monster has also appeared in numerous movies, including The Loch Ness Monster, Terror from the Deep, 1981, Nessie and Me, 2017, and the 2013 found-footage horror film, The Loch Ness Monster. In television, the monster has been featured in shows such as Doctor Who, The X-Files, and Mythbusters, which tested various theories about Nessie. The Loch Ness Monster has also inspired music, with Scottish poet Edwin Morgan publishing the sound poem, The Loch Ness Monster's Song, in 1973, and numerous songs written about the legend. The monster has even become a pop culture reference, with the nickname Nessie used to refer to anything mysterious or elusive. In Stephanie Meyer's Breaking Dawn, 2008, the final book in the Twilight series, the character Jacob Black nicknames Bella's daughter Nessie, sparking anger from Bella. The tabloid Weekly World News often publishes sensational stories about Nessie, claiming that she has been captured, pregnant, or killed. The Loch Ness Monster has also been used in advertising and marketing, with companies using the legend to promote their products and services. The cultural impact of the Loch Ness Monster is not limited to Scotland. It is a global icon, recognized by people of all ages and backgrounds. The legend has become a symbol of human curiosity and the enduring power of the unknown, inspiring people to explore, question, and wonder about the mysteries of the natural world. The legacy of the Loch Ness Monster is a complex one, shaped by centuries of folklore, scientific investigation, and human imagination. It is a legend that has endured for over 1,400 years, from the earliest tales of Saint Columba to the modern-day use of eDNA and sonar. While there is no conclusive evidence that the Loch Ness Monster exists, the legend continues to captivate the world, inspiring countless books, movies, and scientific expeditions. The search for Nessie has pushed the boundaries of science and technology, with researchers using increasingly advanced tools to explore the depths of Loch Ness. Even if Nessie is never proven to exist, the search has led to a better understanding of the loch's ecosystem and the creatures that inhabit it. The 2019 eDNA study, for example, provided valuable insights into the biodiversity of Loch Ness, identifying numerous species of fish, plants, and other organisms that had not been previously documented. The legend has also had a positive impact on the Scottish Highlands, boosting tourism and supporting the local economy. It has brought people from all over the world to the region, allowing them to experience the beauty of the Scottish Highlands and learn about its rich history and folklore. The Loch Ness Monster has also become a symbol of Scottish identity, representing the country's wild, mysterious, and magical nature. For many Scots, Nessie is more than just a legend. It is a source of pride and a reminder of the country's unique heritage. Despite the skepticism of many scientists, there are still those who believe that there is something unknown in the depths of Loch Ness. For these believers, the search for Nessie is not just a quest for evidence. It is a quest for wonder, a reminder that there are still secrets in the world waiting to be uncovered. Whether Nessie exists or not, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster will continue to endure, inspiring future generations to explore, question, and believe in the unknown. To truly appreciate the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, we must look beyond the question of whether it exists, and instead focus on what the legend represents. It represents the human desire to explore the unknown, to push the boundaries of our knowledge, and to believe in something greater than ourselves. It represents the beauty and mystery of the natural world, a reminder that even in an age of scientific advancement, there are still things that we cannot explain. The Loch Ness Monster is a symbol of hope, curiosity, and wonder, a legend that has brought people together from all over the world in a shared quest for the truth. It is a testament to the power of storytelling, how a simple tale of a water beast can evolve into a global phenomenon that endures for centuries. The story of Nessie is not just about a monster. It is about us, our fears, our hopes, our curiosity, and our need to believe in something magical. As we continue to search for the Loch Ness Monster, we are not just looking for a creature in the depths of a loch. We are looking for a connection to the unknown, a reminder that the world is still full of mysteries waiting to be solved. Whether we ever find Nessie or not, the legend will continue to live on, inspiring wonder and curiosity for generations to come. The Loch Ness Monster is more than a myth. It is a legend of the deep, a story that will forever capture the human imagination as we reflect on the long and fascinating history of the Loch Ness Monster legend. It is clear that its enduring appeal lies in its ambiguity. There is no definitive proof of Nessie's existence, but there is also no definitive proof that it does not exist. This ambiguity has allowed the legend to evolve and adapt over time, incorporating new scientific discoveries, cultural trends, and human experiences. The legend has survived hoaxes, skepticism, and scientific investigations, and it continues to thrive in the 21st century, thanks to the internet, social media, and the enduring human desire for mystery. The Loch Ness Monster has become a part of our global culture, a symbol of the unknown that transcends borders and generations. It has inspired artists, writers, scientists, and adventurers, and it has brought joy and wonder to millions of people around the world. Whether you believe in Nessie or not, there is no denying the impact that the legend has had on our world. It has taught us to question, to explore, and to keep an open mind, even in the face of skepticism. It has reminded us that the natural world is full of surprises, and that there is still much we have to learn. As we look to the future, the search for the Loch Ness Monster will continue, with new technology and new approaches helping us to explore the depths of Loch Ness in ways that were once unimaginable. Perhaps one day, we will finally uncover the truth about Nessie, whether it is a giant eel, a prehistoric survivor, or simply a product of human imagination. Until then, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster will remain one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries, a haunting reminder of the power of the unknown and the enduring strength of human curiosity. The Loch Ness Monster is more than just a legend. It is a cultural phenomenon that has shaped the way we think about the natural world and our place in it. It is a story that has been told and retold for centuries, each time with new details, new theories, and new interpretations. It is a story that has brought people together, sparking debate, curiosity, and wonder. The legend of Nessie is a testament to the power of human imagination, how a simple tale can grow into a global obsession. It is also a reminder of the importance of preserving the natural world, as Loch Ness and its surrounding environment are not just the setting for a legend, but a vital ecosystem that supports a wide variety of plant and animal life. The search for the Loch Ness Monster has led to a greater appreciation for the beauty and complexity of Loch Ness, and it has inspired efforts to protect and conserve this unique body of water. As we continue to explore the depths of Loch Ness, we are not just searching for a monster, we are searching for a deeper understanding of the natural world and our relationship with it. The Loch Ness Monster may never be proven real, but its legend will continue to live on, inspiring future generations to dream, explore, and believe in the unknown. In the end, the true magic of the Loch Ness Monster is not in whether it exists, but in the wonder and curiosity it inspires in all of us. It is a legend of the deep, a mystery that will forever captivate the human heart and mind. To delve deeper into the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, it is important to examine the key figures who have shaped the story over the years. From Saint Columba, whose 6th century encounter laid the foundation for the legend, to Tim Dinsdale and Robert Rhines, who dedicated their lives to searching for evidence of Nessie. These individuals have played a crucial role in keeping the legend alive. Tim Dinsdale, in particular, was a driving force in the modern search for Nessie. His 1960 film footage and books inspiring countless others to join the hunt. Robert Rhines, with his scientific expeditions and underwater photographs, brought credibility to the search, even if he never found conclusive evidence. Adrian Shine, a biologist who has spent decades researching Loch Ness, has provided valuable insights into the Loch's ecosystem and the natural explanations for sightings. These individuals, along with countless others, have dedicated their time and energy to uncovering the truth about Nessie, and their contributions have helped to shape the legend as we know it today. The Loch Ness Monster has also been shaped by the media, which has played a crucial role in spreading the legend around the world. Newspapers, television, and the internet have all helped to popularize Nessie, with sensational headlines and dramatic footage capturing the public's imagination. While the media has sometimes sensationalized sightings and hoaxes, it has also helped to bring attention to the scientific investigations and the beauty of Loch Ness. The role of the media in the Nessie legend cannot be overstated, as it has turned a local folktale into a global phenomenon. Another important aspect of the Loch Ness Monster legend is the role of the local community. For the people who live around Loch Ness, Nessie is not just a global icon, it is a part of their daily lives. Many locals have grown up with the legend, and some have even claimed to see Nessie themselves. The legend has become a source of pride for the local community, and it has helped to support their livelihoods through tourism. Local businesses, from hotels and restaurants to souvenir shops and boat tour companies, rely on the Nessie legend to attract customers, and many locals have built careers around the mystery. The local community has also played a role in preserving the legend, passing down stories and sightings from generation to generation. For many locals, Nessie is more than just a monster. It is a part of their heritage, a symbol of the unique and magical nature of the Scottish Highlands. Despite the commercialization of the legend, many locals still hold a deep respect for Loch Ness and its mystery, and they are committed to preserving the loch's natural beauty and ecosystem. The relationship between the local community and the Nessie legend is a complex one, but it is clear that the legend has had a profound impact on their lives and their community. As we look to the future, the search for the Loch Ness Monster will continue, with new technology and new approaches helping us to explore the depths of the loch in ways that were once impossible. Advances in DNA analysis, sonar, and underwater imaging will allow researchers to search the loch more thoroughly than ever before, and it is possible that we may one day find conclusive evidence of Nessie's existence, or lack thereof. However, even if we never find proof of Nessie, the legend will continue to endure. It will continue to inspire books, movies, and works of art, and it will continue to draw tourists to Loch Ness. The legend of the Loch Ness Monster is not just about a creature. It is about the human spirit, our curiosity, our sense of wonder, and our need to believe in something greater than ourselves. It is a reminder that the world is still full of mysteries, and that there is still much we have to learn. The Loch Ness Monster is a legend for the ages, a story that will be told and retold for centuries to come. It is a legend of the deep, a mystery that will forever captivate the human imagination and remind us of the beauty and wonder of the natural world. In conclusion, the Loch Ness Monster is more than just a myth. It is a cultural icon, a scientific mystery, and a testament to the enduring power of human imagination. From its ancient origins in Pictish carvings and St. Columba's miracle to the modern-day eDNA studies and sonar searches, the legend has evolved and adapted over time, capturing the hearts and minds of people around the world. While there is no conclusive evidence that Nessie exists, the legend continues to thrive, inspiring curiosity, wonder, and exploration. The search for Nessie has pushed the boundaries of science and technology, and it has led to a better understanding of Loch Ness and its ecosystem. The legend has also had a profound impact on the Scottish Highlands, boosting tourism and supporting the local economy. It has become a symbol of Scottish identity and a reminder of the country's wild, mysterious nature. Whether Nessie is a giant eel, a prehistoric survivor, or simply a product of human imagination, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster will continue to endure. It will continue to inspire future generations to explore, question, and believe in the unknown. The Loch Ness Monster is a legend of the deep, a story that will forever remain one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries, a haunting reminder of the power of the unknown and the enduring strength of human curiosity.